I didn't do anything, bro. Hey. I didn't do anything, bro. Bro, I didn't do anything, bro. I'm not resisting, bro. Put the phone down real quick. Hey. Relax. You can't take my phone. No, I'm going to put it right there.
That high schooler's name is Seth Palumbo, and he was snatched out of his car, as you can see, by police officers. Man, he really must have been doing something wrong. Or he was trying to help a friend. Same thing when it comes to seeing young folks as threats for sitting in their car, and in this case, making a wrong turn. Let's go to some details, because the father of the kid that was recording that whole thing had this to say. It was a bit of a lengthy post. We'll only point out the few poignant parts here. But he said his son ran out of gas on Thursday and then stalled out in the middle of the road. These are high schoolers. They were, he said, like a hop, skip, and a jump from their high school. Ran out of gas, asked his friend to show up. That friend, one of those friends, is the kid that was getting pulled out of the car. They got the gas can from him, decided to go to the gas station, and in making an illegal turn, the cops then encountered them. And suddenly it was on. He did point out, though, that as they were sitting there, they came out, 5 cops, guns already drawn, immediately already pointed at them, and they were ready for the fight. I guess maybe a murder, because I'm not sure where the fight really was. This whole thing happened. They fought with him. And when that cell phone camera went down, because one of the cops tried to calmly tell the kid, here, just sit it down, you could still hear the screams and the assaults coming from that kid as he's on the ground with them, fighting for his life. Because, again, guns were already out. This is one of the sadder parts about this. Palumbo was initially charged with assaulting a peace officer, but the judge found no probable cause. And again, the father of the other teenager pointed out that the kid is 150, 55 pounds, something like that. But he was assaulting a police officer when his leg flew up as you body slammed him and accidentally hit you on the back or something like that. That's the way these types of charges work. So the other kid, his name is Kristopher Willis Jr., and he was also charged. This is the kid that ran out of gas. Several HCSO deputies pulled Palumbo's car into a nearby parking lot, and the other teens quickly grabbed their cell phones. Those videos captured by Palumbo's passenger, Willis Jr., showed one deputy violently grabbing him and slamming him to the ground, as you then saw. They were both arrested and taken to jail then. Willis, his charge was a misdemeanor impeding roadway. That charge is active, but the family's attorney is ready to fight those charges as well. So, Miranda, you run out of gas. Some folks, this happens to them. You run out of gas, you're in the middle of the street, you're down nearby your school, and you ask for some help. By the way, Willis called the non-emergency help number, not 911 version, called them and let them know what was going on. They said, call some friends for help. So he was following instructions from what he thought were responsible authorities. But I don't think they communicate with the muscle side of it.
This police culture is so similar to gun culture. It reminds me so much of our previous story because you can't tell me they were threatened. They didn't feel like they were in danger or threatened by these teenagers. These kids who ran out of gas. Yes, should you be more responsible and not run out of gas in the middle of the road? But they're teenagers. They're kids. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do stupid stuff. They're not going to realize they need to buy gas. And there's no excuse, absolutely no excuse for it to turn to violence, for you to drag that kid out of his car and body slam him to the ground. For what? For trying to help his friend put gas in his car? It's all about the culture that is subscribed to when it comes to the police, when it comes to guns and the Second Amendment. It's not about the actual, what the police are supposed to be doing. It's about the culture they subscribe to.
When they talk about, you guys want to defund the police and how dare you, hey, when next time you need an emergency, don't try calling the cops. It happens all the time. People call the cops, as, again, Willis did, and they told him what to do. He did it, and it still ended up this way. You need to be confronted with these types of situations. This is why we have to talk about this all the time. It's not just to sit here and bitch and complain about all this. It's to show you guys the reality of what happens in regular, everyday situations as we have this fantasy land thought of the way police activity really is. Sometimes it's perfectly fine, and other times it's like this. But you're willing to let this stuff go because of some kind of fear of the other, and you need the backing of your boys in blue to be a part of it. If this happened to your kid, how okay would you be with it? I listened to the whole audio, and as you hear the kid screaming as they think he's some kind of a threat, you can't help but to hear the kid screaming for his parents, for his mother, and in concern for his life. And the fact that you just sit there and keep beating on him just shows the lack of heart and any kind of compassion you have. It's just out there for fights.